Welcome into Coach's Corner, live again. This is a power, and basically, just to kind of talk through some things. And if y'all saw me drawing up as Easton was talking there, what you're looking for is you're looking for a down or a back block here from your defensive line. You're looking for a down to try to wall that off to keep them out of the play. You're looking for this essentially turns into a double, but you're looking for them to drive that defender back, and your target for that double team between Jones and Brewer is for the backside linebacker, and that's where they're going through. You're also essentially going to have another kind of combo block up here to this front side backer to cut that off. So, and this is what we talk about when you're talking about drawing plays, that if you stop here, everybody at the point of attack is accounted for, right? Looks like it's going to be a pretty successful play. But this is the NFL, and unfortunately, players make plays. So this is where it's shaping up to be. You see Peterson start to make his drop step, and he's going to wrap around Tannehill because you see Tannehill opening up this way, and he's going to boot here. You see in Peterson, his ideal is he's going to follow Pruitt through the hole, and he's going to look to get in between what's called this. Let me erase some of these lines here so you can see it's not fourth grade Crayola. He's going to look to try to cut through what's this round corner right here that these blockers are making here and these blockers are making here. And what you're hoping to kick out here is to get this. Now you have this alley for Peterson to be able to run up in and make a play. I know he's unblocked. You'll see here in a second, there's a receiver coming in because to block. And if not, that's a situation you want your running back to be in to make a play on that backer. Other thing I want to point out real quick, I'll go back to the other play. We talked about earlier about the Titans not going to change their ways. They're still in a tight, condensed formation with two tight ends on the field. They're not really changing what they do. They're just trying to plug in a different player and see if they can get a result out of it. So this is what they're trying to do. So let's go into one more clip. And you see here, if I can get it to quit bouncing around, you can see here now, NFL players make plays, right? So now you're seeing Donald has beat Saffold right there. And if you look, Peterson doesn't even have the ball yet. And he's dealing with this, one of the best defensive linemen in the league, right in his face. But let's point out the other blocks. You've got a great combo here. They're going to get that. You've got some movement here, really working hard. Hart didn't have a great night, so we'll try to call out the good stuff he did do. He is walling that backside block off, and Pruitt's got that angled up, man. The only problem is now you've got one of the best defensive tackles in the league sitting there looking right at Peterson as he's getting the block. And just to kind of go back, if you look here, you can kind of see that Saffold has a good first step. He's in there, and then he doesn't bring that other foot with him. He doesn't get rebalanced there. And Donald's already, you see him grabbing. I don't know if that's clear. You can see him start to grab the arm there of there, and he's going to pull and swim. And Saffold, a little unbalanced, kind of falls susceptible to it. And that's what gets him free right into Peterson's face there. So go on to the next play. Now you're 3 yards back in the backfield trying to make a play. Peterson is able to spin out of it. But what I want you to see here is you've got Swaim coming off on this linebacker. I know he's starting to cut back because Peterson's already in the middle of a swim. So you're going to get a little flow here. So things are going to look a little skewed here. But my point is, you've got this block here. You've got a great seal here by Quessenberry. You've got a seal by Jones. You've got Brewer. I almost said Davis. You've got Brewer cutting off that. So everything's going to get cut off. If this isn't there, this is going to break. This is going to pop. And this is what I said. You've got AJ coming in here to put a block, and now Peterson can make a move. And this is going to be a big play. So we talked about how there can be just one thing that throws off a play from time to time. This is one of those examples. So Adrian Peterson is able to spin out of it, get some, but unfortunately, since everything's being blocked this direction on the field anyway, he's not going to be able to get much because everybody's expecting this to go the other way as far as the blockers. So now you're sitting here stuck, and he's got nowhere to go. Pause. See if my co-host wants to chip in here before I go on to the next play.
Doing a great job. We did have a request specifically for the breakdown of Bobby Hart's play, so I hope we got a lot of that coming here.
Yeah, there's going to be some Bobby Hart coming, and then that's why I kind of want to be nice on one play. He does let somebody loose here, but again, that's a tough position to be for tackle to be in because this play, this isn't supposed to be here. This is supposed to be out here. This is supposed to be breaking this way. And this is a tough block. You see Julio's done a good job cutting off. Now, really what should be happening is a foot race for the old Peterson trying to put a move and see what he can do on that guy down the field. Because I'm fully expecting that AJ is going to get that block and cancel that guy out. So that's kind of the problem there. And then he gets tackled for a I think it's no gain. I think he was amazingly got back to the line of scrimmage somehow. So then that's not on Peterson. That's not a rust issue. That's the fact that Aaron Donald was just in his face immediately. So I'm going to forget kind of the order of some of these plays. So we've got kind of a midline lead here from your offensive line as they start to block here, and we go into it again. Tight formation.
When
two
you say
tight,
things like midline lead,
just middle of the line, just being very basic. It's just kind of a lead, a dive play here. The blocking up front is it can be kind of a gap kind of blocking where you just kind of take what's in front of you, and you know that you've got responsibilities coming up. As I'll go to this next clip, you see here Pruitt's blocking out. He's got man on responsibility. Questenberry's got man on responsibility. Swaim has got man on responsibility through that B gap there to go through up into the linebacker. You've got a double or backside block here working up to this backer, and these guys are blocking out their man on backers. I said gap earlier, but I meant man on. I apologize. So they're man on to block there. And now, again, let's stop this. Does everything look like it's going to be blocked up? Do you have a hat on a hat and everything's accounted for and what could be a successful play, right? That's what it's looking like. So go on to the next play. And unfortunately, you do have Swaim blocking up there. You've got Pruitt blocking out there. Brewer is working, but this backer has come to here, kind of plugging the gap a little bit there. So that's not ideal. You would like to see Brewer at that angle to cut off here and keep him somewhere out here to make it real easy for Peterson to see where the hole is. Jones doing a fantastic job. Saffold holding his water there. Hart out here holding his water on the edge. So you see Adrian Peterson. This is why I think he's still kind of got these athletic cuts to him. See how low he's getting to the ground. So he wasn't high all night. So he's getting into his cut here. Doesn't look too bad. Just talking about how low he is in there. But the problem is that again he's not trusting it. Q's doing a good enough job here, in my opinion, that I think that if he just needs to follow Swaim and stick with it a little more, and that hits front side there, I think that he can make something out of it. Instead, he gets here, he's running right back to this backside trash that again is expecting him to be on the other side. He's trying to cut back through it, and I really think he needs to stay home here a little bit. And as you can see, kind of what happens.
Yeah, but I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit here. I mean, when you're looking at what a running back is taught to read, where are the helmets? The helmets are all to the right side here. He's seeing a hole here, and I know there's a sky cam here, so I can't quite see the helmet placement of who Ben Jones is blocking there. But there's a gap developing there, and if he's reading his helmets, you got the hole that this is designed to go to. I see 3 helmets that are on the side to prevent that. So I don't really hate this from Peterson.
You're right that you do want to read helmets, but when you have a lead blocker, typically when all else falls, and that's why I say I'd rather see him follow his lead blockers because he's new to the team. Let's see what he can develop on the front side.
Sure.
But because I don't think that Q is in a bad position now. The thing is if Q can get some better movement out of, let me get my mark going again. If Q can get some better movement right there on that, then this isn't an issue. He's not doing a bad job. He's not getting beat. He's just not getting any kind of movement. But he's got a head up one-on-one block. And if we go back to the start of the play, I believe he was kind of lined up. It's a little inside. So again, this I would kind of like to see Q kind of influence. And what I mean by that is, if where the play is going to go. And that's the thing is that Swaim is just hunting this guy up. So he's going to try to find. So if I know I've got inside leverage right there, I'm going to try to influence and try to take him in here a little bit and try to maybe play my hand a little bit. The problem with that is that's also gambling because you're susceptible to an inside bull rush at that point in time. And now, like you saw in the last play, the defender is right in Peterson's face. So just a little tic-tacky there, but again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that you're right with the helmets when he gets that cut. So again, he's got the athletic ability to make that cut and look for this hole here. Just everybody kind of holds water, and now he doesn't kind of get in there quick enough, and it kind of bottles up on him. And the next thing you know, he's tackled. And I think that he's frustrated here. And I called this out during the game that he missed his cut somewhere. I think he thinks in this moment, you can see he's kind of grabbing the ball. If you go back and watch the film, he was just kind of hitting it above his head. I think he realizes he needed to stick it front side, or he got caught up in the trash and he had something off the backside that he saw late in the play. So just some of those things, those timing things that needs to get a little better between Peterson and the line. This is just an example of that. So no real fail from the offensive line, not really on Peterson either. Just kind of these things are going to happen, and plays aren't always going to hit. Right. So that's kind of the thing there. So I think that I commented on this play a little bit during the play. We commented on this game live, and this is all jumping around on me. I apologize. So this is the Tannehill interception, just to touch on it real quick. And this is where we're going to get into a little Bobby Hart hate. So I'll get into my point, and then I want to ask you some questions, let you talk a little bit here too. So you see here, we're starting to get the play action fake wheel out. You've got the big on big kind of responsibility. You got to sell the run fake, everything. You've got the back or the tight ends coming this way. Everything's flowing. You've got the offensive line kind of setting up for their gap protection, their responsibilities out here. You've got coming in here. Now, here's my point. What I'll talk about. If you go back to the slide beforehand, there's not a whole lot of ground gain. That's a false step from Bobby Hart, or Sloppy Fart, as as Zach has been calling him on his podcast. That's a false step there. He doesn't gain any ground with that. So now he's left himself open for this inside gap rush from the defensive end, and there's nothing really there. He's done himself no favors to cut that off. He knows he's got the inside leverage. He doesn't do anything else because here's the thing: if he overcompensates too much to the inside, always want to protect the inside as an offensive lineman more than anything because you can redirect to the out, especially when this play is looking to set up over here from Tannehill. So he takes a little bit of a false step there. Bobby Hart does, and he's already playing catch up. So as you see in this next clip, he's on the wrong side here. He's trying to push out here. He's not getting any motion with his legs coming. He is completely turned the other way. I would love to see him more turned this way, kind of a thing, and that's what I expect to see there from him to kind of give that nice pocket. So I guess someone wants to ask out there, why doesn't Pruitt help out there? Sure, that's not his responsibility for this play. See where he's looking. He's looking out here, and the reason he's doing that is in case there is a blitz off this backside gap. You want to protect for that because that's an athletic linebacker coming off the backside to the blind side of Tannehill. So you want to protect that. So he's got his own responsibility to look for. This is also a more athletic person here as well. So he's got his responsibility as a 1-2 out here where Swaim is taking number one. He's looking for the number two trash. Actually, it flips into the first there, second, just however it goes. So that's what they're looking for. Everybody else holding water, protecting their gap, responsibilities there. So you start to see this break over across, and that's where now he's able to get into Tannehill. If you notice where Tannehill, I didn't get the clip. I apologize. I thought I did, but Tannehill is not able to step into his throw. He just basically real quick shuffles his feet to get a little wider, but he's not able to step into it. He's not able to get into kind of even power out here throwing a deep out. It's a tough throw, and now it's tougher if he's doing it from this hash mark, but it's still tough. It's still one of the tougher throws for a quarterback, and you really got to put everything you got into it. And if you're going to miss, you miss wide. You don't miss inside on an out route like this. So because you couple this with he's got this, he's probably shortening his arm throw. I thought there was contact live, but there's not in the clips that I was able to find. He misses his arm completely, but it's still right there. And from he's shortening his arm motion, he's shortening his feet. He's not able to step through, put any power on there. And unfortunately, when you have that situation there, when you have one of the best corners in the game, regardless of what your feelings are on him personally, he's a very talented individual. You throw it out there, you throw it behind, you throw it late with no power on it, and Ramsey's going to step in front of it and pick it off, which is what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, I think that's one where Tannehill saw something flash across his face, and he panicked a little bit and threw it to the first guy that he was going to. I mean, there were other guys that were open. I don't feel like even with a better throw, that pass was going to be completed. I'd like to see him come off of that, but again, pressure impacted the play. Just like when you talk about what the Tickle Monsters are doing on the defensive side, there, you look at what the Rams are able to do and where pressure can impact a quarterback. I think that's what you saw here.
Yeah, and I kind of circled it there. You've got Julio Jones on the backside coming across. It was kind of a modified dig route, a kind of a curl right there and back on the left side. So if he's able to step around that pressure and not to go back a slide, but you see where this pressure is kind of in this area. If he's able to step over into the left a little bit, come off of this read here, and then look back across the field, he probably has a completion to Julio Jones, who's just one-on-one with the corner here backside. It looks like, again, I don't have the wide. I should have grabbed it, but it looks like he also has a route out here as well. He has an option. So, again, Tannehill's not perfect, so this is a little bit on him, but I just want to show why that play was, it doesn't get complete, no, but I think if he's able to step into it and throw it more to the outside, it's at least not an interception.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, but again, you're not trying to throw incomplete passes. You're trying to throw completions. And so I think without the pressure, he's probably moving off of that mark and to a different read.
Right. So next play up, one of my all-time favorite plays in football, the counter. And I love this because you see here the very first thing is a little deception because you have Adrian Peterson is stepping this way kind of a little jab step. If anybody has the basketball, that just he's trying to have a false step to the left, and then he's going to bring it back right. What he's looking to do, here's his second puller through the hole in Pruitt, and he's looking to follow that block and read that block up in the hole to figure it out. And let's take a look at what the other offensive linemen's responsibilities are as they go through. So you've got, and I want to point this out too before I get away from it. Out here, this is just a masterful job by Ferkser. He comes inside to set up to make it look like he's going to block this guy. And if you watch the play live, which we'll figure out if we can do that, and have actual clips to go back and play. But he does the same thing where he steps in front of to make the defender think he's going to block him. Then he goes out to block his responsibility, slows up just a little bit. Then he comes down the line and he's set up for the puller Saffold to just, it's a big man on a little man, and that's a block you want your offensive guard to see. You're also thinking, oh, I've got a free rush, and that he maybe he doesn't look inside and he gets cleaned up by the guard there. You also have again Q a little one-on-one there, but you've got you're down, and you would say, well, are they going to go to this front side backer here? No, they're not. They're going to go and try to block any trash back here. That's what they're aiming, because they've got to try to block anything coming through here, because there's a vacated gap here. And I've got a lot of trash on the screen. I apologize. But from where this offensive lineman is pulling,
I see Bobby Hart there.
You see Bobby Hart?
You said you had a lot of trash on the screen.
Good point. So, but this is a susceptible gap that's opening up right here, because your offensive lineman is pulling and go this way. So a couple things have to happen. The front side offensive lineman have to really, or the backside, Hart has to do a good job cutting this off and keeping this person at bay, because this is a free run as well. You also have to, as the center, be able to look for this gap as well, because you're essentially down blocking. It's not really a double team, but you're down blocking, you're cloud blocking, a gap blocking kind of thing. So it's whatever shows up. So if this defensive lineman goes back here, Jones steps on and the Brewer's going to climb. If the defensive lineman stays front side in that front side A gap right here, then if he stays front side on Brewer, then Jones is going to climb for the backside and protect this backside gap there. So that's what's kind of happening here. And then last, before I move on, is Swaim. You see him giving a hand because he's trying to help close that gap down. And then he's responsibility is to get back out here. And if anybody's crashing hard, he's just going to get hands on, try to hold them out. Because again, this counter is supposed to hit out here. That's the design. So you want to kind of hold everything, hold your water on the backside and let that go. So the problem is, as we start to get into it, you see, again, like I said, if you remember, Ferkser's now out on his responsibility after he deked and came out. Saffold has pulled from backside. Q is actually getting some pretty good for head up blocking. He's actually influencing pretty well there. That's not a bad job. Like I said, Jones and Brewer have pushed this defensive nose all the way back, and Brewer is now climbing for the first thing that shows across the top to help protect. And so you look here, now we've got this. There's no big threat there. I would love to see him still. That's an athletic person.
I mean, if I'm looking at this picture, this is set up really well.
Yes, thank you. And I'm glad you can see that, because that's what I'm trying to say here. That look how he's got here, and I can see what he sees. He sees that hole open up again. He's seeing things. He's trying to make it, because again, this block hasn't engaged yet. That's the block he's reading, because if this turns into a kick out, he's cutting up. If this block turns into a hook, so it's either a kick out where it goes this way or it hooks here, right? So that gives Peterson kind of his way he's going to go, right? So it's a little more patience out of Peterson there, to be honest with you, so we can see at least how this is developing. It's not there yet, but he makes his decision right then, because he sees this gap backside, which is fine. But I'd like to point something out. You called it trash earlier on the field, all this trash. Well, there's a big piece of trash right here that, remember, where did he start?
Taking away that backside.
Where did Hart start? He was out here. So Jones, and they've got more movement. They replaced over. He's not able to hold him out, and now he's in the way, because I can see what Peterson's seeing, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Yes, is it great? I think there were some other, and I'll give him credit. I think that the Tic Tac Titans had a good breakdown about this same play earlier, and I'll give the credit there, and that he should have stuck with it. And I agree with him there. But I don't think that this is wrong either, because if Hart can just hold, if he can just hold his man right here. Look at that. And you're setting up here where you're going to get a chip here. You've got
probably
this blocked here.
one-on-one with the safety here.
Yeah, and that's what you want from your running back in this scheme, is to be one-on-one constantly with a safety. So it's breaking up really well. So you combine the fact that Peterson reads it, and again, watch, he's into his break now. This was my point when I talked about that this week. He's into his break now. He's already made his cut. He's made his decision. Whether he should or shouldn't have stuck at front side is no longer an option. Maybe he should have, maybe shouldn't. He probably should have, because as you see this going on, there is a lane that opens up and he can squirt through, and you're going to have a big home run play. Do not disagree with that. But it also looks like it's going to be here. And if this freaking block here can just be held on the backside, it's still a home run. And that's two options on one running play for the Titans. So in a play that doesn't gain anything and leads to more frustration from this fan base, and that the offensive running game wasn't going. And you look at this when you run the playback and look what they had. Now you can see, now that Pruitt's engaged, he's definitely got the hook going. The helmet's on this side, so I'm not sure Peterson still doesn't make the same read, to be honest with you. But Pruitt does get there, and he's at least flattened out. What I mean that you don't read in the counter. Yes, you can read helmets, but you more want to read the shoulder pad of your blocking offensive lineman, because if his shoulders are turned this way, so just imagine that shoulders and the head going this way, you read it as a backside cut. But if the shoulders are parallel-ish to the line, you read that as a hook block, essentially. I mean, that's I know.
Let's rewind to the knowing who makes this tackle. Let's rewind to the beginning of the play.
One more. There we go. Let me clean up a little bit. Sorry. All right, go ahead.
All right, so we look at this positioning right here and where Bobby Hart is set up. One of the few things you were coached at, even at remedial offensive linemen, is what?
Cross your face.
Don't let them cross your face. We didn't plan this. So if you want me to prove a point about how remedial that rule is, I didn't say, hey, let's talk about this coaching point.
Mm-mm.
It was explicitly, what's the remedial thing that you talk about? Don't let the defender cross your face.
Right.
And look where his helmet's at here.
Yeah,
and where he ends up.
He's letting him cross his face throughout the course of this play, because he's got to bring this foot up and be aggressive and really look to fight here. He just doesn't have that in him. He was frustrated all night, but he didn't do himself any favors with his form. So I get it. If you're not the strongest guy, that's fine. Bring some technique with you.
Yep.
And if you're not a technical guy, be a mauler, but play to your strengths. And I think that Hart was trying to be a little bit what he's not, which I don't really know what he is. But again, trashing on him a little bit here. This is because look, and you can kind of see the progression here. Go from there. He's crossed his face, and look at the body lean on Hart. That's not good.
Yeah, if you're standing fully up straight,
he's being bent back. Yeah,
in a run blocking play, you're in trouble.
Not good. Not really good. So now you see the his responsibility, who is supposed to be held out here, is now making the play, and just look. I'm gonna beat a dead horse here. It's a home run, maybe. Peterson, 20-yard gain. Okay, shooting for 20-yard gains here. So that's that play, and that's the frustration I was talking about earlier about. You have Peterson, all that good stuff, and I won't go through this because I pulled a lot of these plays because I plan on doing an article all week, and I may still put this out. If you're listening to this podcast tomorrow, come back, read on. I do want to touch on one more play just real quick. The Peterson or the Tannehill fake, which I think. Let me go ahead and get down to it. So I may have a play here or an article, or at least check my Twitter. I may upload all these pictures and talk a little bit about it. So here is the Tannehill fake boot real quick. So you look how it's going to set up. You've got the front side go. And we had a lot of people argue about whether the Titans would still be able to run this play because Derrick Henry's not in the game. He's not a big enough threat. Here's still of enough threat that you've got flow here. You've got here. You've got here. Everybody's still flowing. This is the man you're hoping to influence more than anybody else, because I know this is a freak athlete right here. I don't think he makes this play, even if he is able to run free. It's close. We'll still go for it. But he gets faked out so bad by him coming in, because everything's going this way. The blocking's all going this way, right? Your lead's coming this way. Your running back's coming this way. Everything's going that way. Defense looks at everything they're going here. Tannehill doing a great job doing his coaching, showing that ball to the defense, make them think you're handing it off. Great play action, great fake. When you're going here, now he pulls it, he's gone. Look at that. We essentially, the Titans are masterful. We are essentially seeing them again turning a defender into a blocker for this offense because of how this worked out. He just crushes Donald there and pulls him down. But the reason I want to show this, because we know with the end result, Tannehill is able to go and to get his finger roll touchdown. But I kind of want to point out that the blocking was so good on the front side. Where's Peterson? No, he didn't have the ball, but if you watch this live, he didn't know until Peterson was already at the goal line. They're all still in here looking for him, and he is crossing. So I think if they hand the ball off here, it's still a touchdown to Peterson. But, what they have here is a touchdown regardless. It doesn't matter. You get the Tanny roll in the end zone. So just want to touch on that there were still some more success out there on the table for Peterson to have. And I still think this running game for the Titans can be effective. And to our main point going back, not a whole lot of reason to change a whole lot. Okay, now I'm done.